So welcome back to Being Becoming the podcast. So as always, I am one of your hosts, Makaya, also known as MB. And then I have my girl here, Janelle. Whoop
Hey.
whoop. So if you're new to the podcast, we are a weekly podcast. We talk a little bit about anything and everything as we help people on their journey to become. So we leave that open-ended for the audience. So whether you want to become better financially, whether you want to become better mentally or better emotionally, spiritually, whatever it may be, we're here to help you on that journey and provide resources. But we do hope that you're on the journey to become the best version of you. So, as always, we say we are not experts, but we are here to do the work. So, shout out to everyone who is listening and watching the podcast. I'm going to be honest, you guys. If you are watching this podcast, I had a struggle to get on today. I usually record on like my phone, and my phone's orientation was doing weird. So I'm on my laptop. So you guys are actually probably a little bit closer and not seeing as much of my background as you usually are. So I had a lot of issues, but we finally got on and we are here and we are ready for today's episode. So Janelle, what are we talking about?
Ooh. All right. So have you ever been asked to take on a new project by your boss? So you have different thoughts, ideas, and questions will come up, and it makes you ponder, do I really want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to realize that it's not in your best interest to take on new assignments at work. It could be a multitude of things that prevent you from getting the job done effectively, such as buildup of other work, not having the necessary training or skills, or enough time to get it done. Sometimes you just have to say no to protect your peace and livelihood. And let's just be honest, some work isn't in your job description or mandatory that you do, or is it even in your best interest? If you're not getting paid to do it, a stipend or experience for a better position, etc., it's okay to just say no. I know this is a sensitive topic, but that's why we are here to drop some perspective on it. So how do you feel about it, MB?
Girl, I think saying no is something that a lot of people struggle with. So when I originally think of the concept of saying no, I'm one of those people who's like, no, if I don't want to do something, I'm going to tell you I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the subject or the thought process came up for this episode because I think I was talking to someone, and they, they're a little bit older than me. I think they were like in their 50s. And they were saying like, when you're in your 20s, that's your process to really, learn more about yourself, to, experience work, experience different careers, to learn how to say no. And I was taken back. I was taken a little aback when he said, learn how to say no. I was like, I'm 26. I've already learned to say no. And he was like, what I mean is no, in the sense, if you don't want to go, with your friend, if your friend invites you somewhere and you're like, you don't want to go with your friend to this outing, it's easy for you to say no. And I was like, yeah, it's for the most part, unless it's something like I've completely committed to, it's easy for me to be like, girl, no, I got you next week, or we'll do something else later. But he was like,
Right.
if you were to work on, let's say just in the event industry, if you were to have a client that was like, I want this, 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 and this, and some of those things are going to either stretch you or be kind of impossible to achieve, since you're in your 20s and maybe you're just getting into your career, it's going to be harder for you to say no than it is for someone who's a little bit seasoned, who has been in the career in the industry for a while. It's going to be easy for them to say no because they have the resources to say no. It's not going to hurt their business if they say no, things of that nature. And I really had to think about it, and I was like, I kind of agree with you. Like in certain aspects, it's no matter who you are, it's easier for you to say no. But in your 20s, like usually you're learning, you're building those connections, you're laying that foundation to be comfortable and to have, something to lay back on if you do say no and miss an opportunity because you say no, if that makes sense.
Right. It makes sense.
So yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
That was my whole thought process. I was like, yeah, saying no is something that I'm kind of learning in my 20s in certain aspects.
I mean, my thing is, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm one of those where I'm gonna always say no if it's not okay with my spirit.
Right.
If I feel like I'm not able to do the job, if I'm if I feel like I'm not adequate enough to carry it out because I don't have the necessary skills or whatever, I'm gonna be honest and transparent and just say, no, I'm not doing it.
Right.
Or even if I just don't feel like it, no. And I know some people be like, oh, you just don't feel like doing it. This is my thing. If it's not mandatory that I do it, it's a no. If it's not in my job description, it's a no. And the reason why I say if it's not in my job description, it's a no, is because, how can I say it? Other people at your job can get or is being paid to do that job. So why are you doing it? That's number one. But then number two, people take advantage of that as well. They'd be like, oh, she'll do it. Don't worry about it. We'll have Janelle do it because I know Janelle's gonna do it or whatever like that. No, no. It's a no.
See, and I like that you're confident in, like, if you can't do it, or you feel like you're not capable, or you don't have the experience, like, you're able to say no. But I do know a lot of people, whether in your 20s or not, people who are older who do struggle with saying no, just in some, even the most simplest situations. So I want to take a little bit of a step back and talk about some of the reasons why people may feel uncomfortable with saying no. So I definitely think one thing that kind of gets people tripped up is like feeling guilty. I think a lot of people, well, I won't say a lot of people, but there are some people out there that when they say no, they feel guilty for saying no. Like they feel like someone is, like they should be doing it. And like that, they're held to doing that. And I kind of want to get what your thoughts on that, like the feeling guilty and not in saying no.
I feel like a lot of people feel guilty when they say no, and it's not just when it pertains to work. This is just in general. This is my thing. It's like you just have to be okay with being uncomfortable, for one. And then I feel like you just have to be okay with upsetting some people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, you can't make everybody happy in this world. You can try, but at the same time, you end up losing a bit of yourself because you're overextending yourself out than what you should. And again, I just personally feel like everybody has their moments where they feel guilty, like, oh, I wish I could have made it, or I wish I could have did this, or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, you have to look out and plan accordingly. Hey, is this going to affect what I got going on? Is this the best outlook for me? Is this where I should be right now? When you need to be handling your business. You get what I'm saying? So you have to prioritize things, and when you prioritize things, I feel like that's when you get a sense of I'm not it's not my fault, or you're not the bad person. You just have to do what you had to do in that moment. If they find an issue with it, then so be it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think prioritization is great advice. I think just to add to that, just knowing your boundaries. If you already have set boundaries, then saying no should be a little bit easier for you because you already know whatever they're asking you has gone over your boundaries. So your natural response is going to be no. I think a lot of people also who may feel uncomfortable with saying no, especially at a younger, let me actually take age out of this. We're not even going to talk about age. Some people may think no is like a death sentence in the sense of, I know that word is strong, but in the sense of like, they think no means like, no means no. Let's say that. No means no. You either say yes or you say no to something. No means either you can't do something or you're not willing to do something. It doesn't mean that if you ask me to do something else, I won't do something later on. So that's what I mean by some people think it's a death sentence, meaning, well, if I say no to this, they're not going to come to me with like other things. That means, it's going to sever the relationship. Or if, I don't keep up with this promise, things of that sense. Like people think like if I don't give into this one thing, then it's going to just, hurt any future chance of anything happening.
I get that. And in a sense, I feel like I know this is a crazy subject to even throw in there, but it kind of relates to peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It really
Definitely.
does. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because you feel like you're pressured into doing something because you don't want anybody to view you this way or not invite you or include you in other things.
Right.
So, in a sense, it's almost that message of peer pressure going on too.
Yeah. There's definitely elements of peer pressure in it. Because it's like what's socially acceptable in a sense.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And how can I say? I guess some people can fear the whole rejection thing too when
Mm,
it comes to it. Yeah.
definitely. I definitely know some people who are like, I don't want to say no because I feel like either the person feels like I'm going to reject them in that situation. Like, I know a lot of people that skate around certain things. Like, they won't tell you yes or
Mm,
no. They'll just skate around the subject because they don't want either the other person to feel rejected or they don't want to feel rejected. Um, I mean, it even goes to like defining, I'll give you an example. This just popped into my head. Defining relationships.
mhm,
Like, if you're talking to someone and you guys have been talking for a while. You think that both of you guys are on the same page, but you don't want to sit down and, initiate or have that conversation because you don't want the fear of rejection. So
mhm,
you just skate around the whole thing, even though you're not happy in the situation. And you could have just went ahead and had that conversation and it could have been a yes or a no. You could have moved on with your
mhm.
life.
But let's just talk about that in itself. What is it that made you feel that you're not able to talk to that individual? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what makes you to that point that you're scared to approach the issue or that individual? I really want to, ponder that question. And I know it might be the fear of what they might have to say. Um, but at the same time, you can't live your life in fear.
Mm-hmm.
What do you gain out of living your life in fear?
Right.
You gain nothing because you're not willing to take that risk. And that's just a part of the journey of life is taking risks.
Mm.
That's
Yeah,
that's just a part of the journey.
I couldn't agree with you more. I was trying to answer your question. Like when you initially asked it, I was sitting here like, I don't exactly know. Cause I will say in the past, when I was, in college and things of that nature and even younger, I probably was one of those people that
Mhm,
had certain fears, whether it be fear of rejection or things of that nature. So I wouldn't have had the conversation. I would just waited and kept waiting. I've grown up since then.
mhm,
And I don't have any fears. Like, what's for me is for me. I have a
mhm.
higher power. God's leading this path that I'm on. So, whether you say no or not, that just means no means next opportunity for me. So
Exactly.
I've grown up
Exactly.
in that sense, but I definitely think there's a lot of people because I'm personally one of those people. I used to be that way where I would feel like if I had the conversation, there might be a sense of rejection that would happen, and I'd rather just keep things how they were. I didn't want to
Mhm.
mess things up in a sense, or what I felt like was messing things up.
And this is my thing. People got to take rejection and look at it from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If that person say no, be okay with it because that means
Right.
it just wasn't meant for you and that it's something better out there for you. And
Definitely.
so you just really have to take it from that perspective as well. It's never like, oh my God, I'm just so hurt and so damaged. You might feel that way for a moment, baby, but clearly right down the line, you're gonna be like, I see what you did there, God. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You're gonna be like, why was I even tripping over dude? Like he wasn't even the one for me.
Girl.
Like I'm just being real, it just amazes me. You be like, why was I tripping like that? Why was I scared to either get a yes or a no from this?
Mm-hmm.
You have to just be confident to know that, hey, these are my skills, these are my abilities, this is what I bring to the table. And if this person doesn't cherish it, the next person will.
I couldn't have said it better. I mean, there's so many times I've looked over in my life and I'm like, so it's not even just relationships, but just certain jobs that I may have applied for and I didn't get. And I'm like, well, I had the skills. Why didn't I get it? And I look back and I'm like, I'm glad I missed that opportunity because I got this opportunity, which led to this. So it's just
Exactly.
crazy. You just have to have confidence in yourself at the end of the day and confidence in your journey. Again, what we always say, what's meant for you is meant for you. Because I mean, it will happen. Like eventually, whatever you want in life, if you're, doing those affirmations, if you're putting in the work and an opportunity comes, it's gonna happen for you. You just gotta be patient.
And how can I say it? Sometimes your blessing comes when it's disguised, when you don't even know that it's there or when it's coming. That's when you really be like, you're in awe. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So just wait it out sometimes. Don't fear that rejection. Rejection is always a good thing. I always view it as a good thing. It's either you like me or you don't.
Right. But yeah, I think there's probably a ton of reasons why people say no, but one of the things that really stuck out to me that I think a lot of people, use that excuse of why they may not want to get that no or why they may not say no is because they don't, hold on, I'm sorry. Sorry, you guys, I was looking at my notes and I was like, what? So one reason, like the last reason is they may not know how to say no. Sometimes we don't know. It's not that we don't know how to say no, because you can just say no, to be honest. Right, but there's other ways that you can go about it if you don't know specifically how to in the moment. Like if you feel uncomfortable in the moment and saying no specifically, there's some other ways you can go about it. And I wanted to talk just briefly about like those other ways. So the first one that I think I use a lot sometimes is like buying yourself some time. So if someone comes to you with, a proposal, an opportunity, a question, and you don't want to answer it then and there, maybe say, hey, heard what you said, let me think it over. Or let me get back to you. You're still going to have to, if you don't want to do it, you're still going to have to say no later, but it gives you time to reflect on maybe if this is something you should say yes to or no, and it gives you time to formulate whatever you want to say in response. And also, it doesn't put you in the heat of the moment. Like it doesn't put you on the spotlight right there where you have to say something. It gives you time to decide.
Right. And I feel like people need to take out the time to really think before they give a definite answer. You have to definitely weigh the the pros and the cons to each and every situation. And the crazy thing is that you mentioned it's how you say no. And I tell people that all the time. I don't think saying no is the actual problem. It's how you say no.
Right.
Is the issue. And I'm not saying be a smart aleck and, no. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying do all of that. But what I'm saying is the way and the tone that you say no is what really sets the tone. So if you say, hey, I'm not comfortable with doing this job because I do not have the necessary skills or training for it, they can't be mad at you because you said that. Right. It's because you legit don't have the skills to do it. Now, it's one thing if they taught you the skills and you say no, then that's a totally different, subject at hand. But that's a valid reason to say no.
I love that you use that example because it kind of leads me into, the next one. Another way where you can say no without having to say no is compromise or counter offer. So in a situation like the work situation you brought up where you're like, hey, I don't have the skills or the resources to do this. Maybe you come up with a plan on a way where you can get the skills or the resources. Like maybe there's a training that can teach you what they're asking you to do. And you come to your boss and be like, hey, you guys have asked me to do this. It seems like this is something you're going to be expecting of me moving forward. There's this training that's going to teach me how to do this. Are you guys willing to pay for this training? And then once I have those resources, I can continue on with this project. So instead of saying no, you're getting, additional training that you may want to go into another job. And, you're not having to say no to the project. You're just pushing it off until you get the training.
Amen.
And they're paying for it.
Yeah, and they're paying for it. And I tell people that all the time, don't be quick to say no to any training or any testing or certification. Never say no to things like that because those are building blocks to build for your career. Right. And things like that. So if they are offering a free teaching seminar, you better best believe I'm going to go 9 times out of 10 because it's going to aid in my future with teaching and aid in how we talk to administration and get deals and negotiations and things like that. So I feel like it's very, very vital and important that you guys just take the opportunity to even get that if it's offered. You get what I'm saying? And like MB said, you don't gotta, you know what I'm saying? You don't gotta do it. Well, take the back. You don't have to come out of pocket.
Right.
For it.
Right. Yeah. Use your resources. Like if there's something, even if it's not in your field specifically, if there's like a job that you're doing but like there's another job I want to go into and there's this training I want to do, but I can't pay for it. Figure out what the training's about, and maybe there's some things, even though it may not directly relate to your position, maybe there's some things that can tie in to your position, or maybe there's some other additional people in your work environment that want to go to the training where your person who's over it will cover it. So just figure out how you can tie certain things in. I hear this all the time, and this is kind of going off topic, but like deductions from your taxes. Like there's certain things that you can deduct from your taxes based off of what you do for employment. And a lot of us don't use those resources. So let's say, for example, Janelle's a teacher. If Janelle wanted to deduct her laptop, she can deduct her laptop because it's for work purposes. If Janelle needed to deduct certain things supplies she got for school, but maybe she uses the same supplies at home too, she can deduct that because she's using it halfway for school purposes or, for home purposes. To be honest, I'm going to say this, but, obviously I'm not a tax expert. But if Janelle, if the pandemic lasted longer and we all were at home and all we did was like home learning, you could probably deduct mortgage or rent because your workplace, and light bill, because your workplace is your, home. You probably can't do that now. And again, I'm not a tax person, so I'm not giving tax advice.
COVID is still around.
Right.
Not leave us. You can still do it.
So to get to the main point, I was saying, just, instead of saying no, if you want to do that program or if you want to do something, figure out a way where you can compromise or counter offer with your employer or whoever it may be to get what you want without having to say no to the first situation. So.
And let me just say this. So you guys, I received a grant for our school in reference to health and PE through Shape of America. And so that opportunity, thank you. So that opportunity not only granted myself full membership access and convention, all of that, but it also gave two of my colleagues the same thing. So they had the same opportunity to go to all these conventions and look at the seminars and webinars and all of that. And like both of them said, that was like, dang, that was very informational. Like I took back some things. Like one of them is a coach and he was like, dang, that was tight how they did that. I like how they did that. But it gave them resources and creative ideas at the end of the day. Right. And then they also got the opportunity next year to go out of town to New Orleans.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. So just think if they would have said no.
Right. Missed the opportunity.
A missed opportunity. And that's what they were saying. They were like, thank you for even, thinking of me about this. And I was like, you're welcome. You get what I'm saying? But just imagine if they said no, they would have missed out on those opportunities.
Right. And another one I wanted to say is how to say no without saying no. I call it the customer-friendly answer. Because anytime you call these customer service representatives and you ask for something, if you realize they don't tell you no directly, but they'll give you some, like standard statements like, this is what our company does, blah, 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 blah. But it's not saying no, but it's saying no. Like, we can't do that for you because our company only does these set things. So yeah, put on your customer-friendly voice, give you a little customer-friendly answer of, well, I only do this, or I only have time for this, or blah, blah. So you don't have, if you don't want to say no, like you want to be that nice person in this situation, I feel you, just give your little customer service answer. They may not take it because a lot of us people that call customer service, no, I need to speak to a supervisor. I don't want to hear this answer. So then you might just have to flat out say no. But, maybe try that first.
I like that because I used to pull that line all the time in customer service. I used to say some slick stuff, baby. But But at the end of the day, it's like, if you really and truly, don't want to continue on the charades, yeah, just be adamant about it and just say no. My thing is this: what can they do to you when you say no?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? No is no. At the end of the day, can't nobody force your hand to do anything. You're a grown adult at this point. And I feel like, well, there is laws in place for people to, if they try to come back at you for saying no. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
There's laws and rules and regulations and all those good things to
Right.
protect you. That's what you have a union for. That's what you have a whole committee and everything like that for. So never be afraid to say no.
Right.
Never.
And the one thing I want to say is kind of like a lasting tip is be okay if there's an unrealistic person that you say no to and they're just so upset and up in arms about you saying no. You did what was best for you. There's a reason behind your no. You don't have to give it to that person, but there's a reason behind your no. So go on with your day. And don't let that person get to you.
Yes. You know what? Girl, I wrote that down. I got it in here. I want to show you the notebook, girl. I wrote it down in the notebook. And I just said it. I said, it's the way in which, because I said saying no is not the issue here. It's the way in which you say it with justification or no justification. Because you really don't need no justification when you want to say no. No is no. No means no.
Right. That's what they tell the kids. No means no.
Exactly. That's it. And the crazy thing is like people just be so, I don't want to say burnt out or afraid. Well, it really is a mix of both. And I tell people all the time, because people are like, Janelle, you're just so free, lullaby. Girl, yes. Because ain't nobody gonna stress me out.
Right.
Ain't nobody. Ain't nobody. Go stress me out, y'all. Ain't nobody gonna stress me out.
Girl, I feel you. I couldn't agree more. I really hope that, this helps someone. If you're struggling to say no, there may be an underlying reason why you're struggling to say no, and you need to work on that specifically, whether, maybe it's your confidence. Maybe you don't have enough confidence, or, maybe you're scared a little bit, or maybe, you're nervous. You can be nervous, or you have fear of rejection, like we talked about. Those may be all reasons why you don't want to say no. There may be some additional reasons that we didn't even think of, but just work on it. Because there's not gonna be a time in life where you never say no. There's gonna be times where you have to say no, just for your sanity, because you're not either capable of doing it, because it's against your morals. I don't think we talked a lot about that, but it may be completely against your morals. Then you need to say no and be able to move on with your day.
Yeah, definitely so. And my whole thing is that if they have an issue with you saying no and they start doing different things to get back at you or retaliate against you, look at that as a clear message that you don't need to be in that environment. You don't need to be at that job. It's time for you to go somewhere else. And you have to be okay with that movement of you going to somewhere else. And even in that process of movement, you might be afraid. You might be like, oh, I don't know. Everybody is uncomfortable with change, but change sets you up for your opportunity and your biggest blessings. So never look at it as a bad thing overall, but it should definitely tell you something if they retaliate against you for saying that.
Definitely. And when you were talking, it made me think, when you said retaliation, sometimes you just need to walk away from situations. You don't have to provide an answer at all. It doesn't have to be a yes, it doesn't have to be a no, it doesn't have to be an explanation. There are going to be moments in your life where you're like, I just need to walk away from this and then just, wipe my hands of this. It may be a situation where someone's, this is the most extreme, but it may be a situation where someone's trying to square up. okay, maybe it's a situation where you need to walk away from it. You don't need to retaliate. You don't need to go back and forth with that person. Like, there's situations like that, and a lot of us have experienced situations like that. So just be confident in like you walking away. It doesn't make you a punk because you walked away. It doesn't. There's no title associated with it. It's you did better for yourself, and you have peace of mind, and you can sleep at night.
Girl, let me just tell you this. I'll be totally okay with the walking away. But if anybody in their lifetime try to square up with me at my job, best believe I'm whooping that you know what. And I'm taking you out.
I'm done. I knew
This
that was
the
going to be your
audacity
response.
for me. You already knew.
I already knew. When I was
Audacity
saying
for
it, she
me.
was like, "No, this is not how this is going down."
Yes, I'm looking like I
She's
wish
looking at me like,
somebody would. They're like, we know better than to ever do that with her. Yes.
"Girl." And I was thinking about you the whole time I was saying it. I was thinking about Janelle the whole time I was saying it. She was like, I knew she was gonna be like, "Nah, no, this is not how this is going down."
Like I say, I'll walk away. This is the thing, y'all. I do not argue with anybody. I will be the first one to be like, all right, I'm done with this conversation. I'm going about my business.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime you finna act like you finna hit me,
right?
they might as well go ahead and call the popos. Do whatever you need to do. Call Lil Joey and Lil Day, whoever you need to do.
Not Joey and Day.
Do whatever you gotta do. Or Susie Sue. Or whatever.
Susie Sue. Okay.
Let me just say this, because I'm going to get you and I'm going to get them too. And don't make me reach in the purse. Don't make me reach in the purse. Y'all know I'm crazy.
You a mess today. But she's serious, y'all. She's serious.
I am serious, though. But the power of saying no will bless your life. Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid to say no. Just don't.
Couldn't agree more. Well, you guys, I feel like we wrapped it up, so I'm not going to do If You Don't Know, Now You Know, because we kind of wrapped it up at the end. So, but I did want to tell the viewers, specifically if you are watching us, I do apologize, y'all. The last few weeks, I've been so busy. I haven't had any words in my boards for you, so you haven't gotten a nice little quote. I haven't worn any makeup the last few episodes. I've been struggling, not for the episodes, but just, a lot has been going on with life. I have told Janelle what I'm doing. I'm still going to wait to tell you guys what I'm doing, but I will give you guys a little update. So I have completed like step 3 out of 4 in the process, meaning I took an exam and I actually passed it today. So I'm super excited. This will all make sense to you guys, hopefully in a few weeks when I reveal everything, because everything will be wrapped up by then. But yeah, so that's what's been going on, where you're like, I come on here, there's no words for you guys. I'm looking like, I just maybe rolled out of bed because I have been busy. I get home, I record this, and then, I go about the rest of my day. So yes, been very busy.
Congratulations. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, girl. Thanks. But that is it for us for this week. We are happy that you guys have been rocking with us for, this time period, these few minutes that we were on here today. Shout out to all of our homies in the audience. Shout out to you, homies. And you guys, if you want to continue to, reach out to us, collaborate with us, whatever you want to do, maybe give us some feedback on the episode, go on over to the Being Becoming Podcast IG page. That is Being Becoming Podcast. We are on Instagram. You can, DM us. We do try to get on there and, post what our week episode is going to be. So we'll do that like a day or two before the episode comes out. And so you guys can, ask any questions. We'll include those questions. Also, if you have any questions for our guests, like I said, last week's episode, we are going to get back to having guests on the episode. It's just me and Janelle have been so busy. Janelle with school and vacations and everything, and me with what I'm working on now that I will reveal later. So, but we're getting back into a routine, so we definitely will be having guests shortly. But again, we're so excited and we're so happy that you guys were able to take time to listen out to this episode. We obviously want to engage with you guys more, so going over to our IG page so we can continue to build this community, and we will see you guys next week.
Yes, and a special shout out to class of 2021. I know graduation
Oh,
is
yes.
here for a lot of people, including me. I graduate Friday. Woo! I can't wait. Can't wait,
We
y'all.
are so excited
But
for you.
thank you. But shout out to everyone else as well who are graduating this semester. 2021 has been rough, but you guys made it. Congratulations to you all. And again, we will see you. If you guys want to tune in on Instagram, you can check me out at Beautiful J.
And you can check me out at I'm Just MB. And as always, signing off. See you guys next week with another episode.